Air pollution. We see it as that hazy skyline, that sort of murky day. But what if I told you it's also an invisible killer? One that's responsible for millions of deaths every single year. In this explainer, we're going to break down this global crisis, from the smog-choked streets of some of the world's biggest cities, all the way to the surprisingly hopeful solutions that could help us all breathe a little easier.
This quote, it just hits you, right? It frames air pollution not as some abstract environmental statistic, but as a daily personal struggle. Just imagine having to think about every single breath you take, knowing you're fighting against toxins you can't even see. That's the reality for millions of people, and it's a really powerful reminder of what's at stake here.
So to really see this crisis up close, let's zoom in on Delhi, a megacity that has, for better or for worse, become a symbol of this global struggle for clean air.
Okay, look at this number, over 400. That is the Air Quality Index, the AQI. The best way to think of it is like a thermometer for air pollution. The higher the number, the more dangerous it is for you to breathe. Now, to put that in perspective, anything over 300 is officially considered hazardous. So we're not just talking about a bad air day, we're talking about a full-blown public health emergency that can hang over the city for days on end.
So what's causing this? Well, it's pretty much a perfect storm. You've got emissions from millions of cars and all the surrounding industry. That gets mixed with incredible amounts of dust from constant construction. Then, you add in the smoke from seasonal crop burning in nearby regions. And the final ingredient? Winter weather patterns that act like a lid, trapping all of that pollution right over the city.
And the fallout from this is just huge, and it goes way beyond the environment. Think about the chain reaction here. Families are suddenly facing massive medical bills. Businesses lose money because their workers are sick. Schools have to shut down. The economic cost is just staggering, and you can measure it in both health and in actual wealth.
So what does this stuff actually do to our bodies? See, the damage from air pollution is sneaky. It's gradual, it's silent. You might just feel a little cough today, but the really severe consequences, those build up over years.
And these numbers are, well, they're staggering. Just look at this. Air pollution is directly linked to more than a third of all deaths from lung cancer and a full fifth of deaths from heart disease. This is not a side issue. It is one of the biggest global health threats that we face, period.
This is probably the most shocking comparison I have ever seen. Breathing the air in a city like this is like smoking multiple cigarettes a day. It just makes all that abstract data feel incredibly personal, doesn't it? Can you imagine the cumulative damage of doing that day after day, year after year, without even choosing to?
And here's what that invisible damage looks like over time. We're talking about chronic, life-altering conditions like asthma and heart disease. For kids, it's even worse. It can actually stunt the development of their lungs for life. It literally shortens people's lives and creates this constant, nagging stress for everyone living under that blanket of smog.
Looking at all these facts, it's really easy to feel, well, hopeless. But is this crisis truly inevitable? Is this just the price we have to pay for modern life? The answer, thankfully, is a clear and resounding no. So let's pivot, and let's start talking about the solutions.
And here's the good news. Other major cities have faced their own air apocalypses, and they have fought back. And they've won. Places like Beijing, London, and LA have actually created a kind of blueprint for clean air that offers some real, tangible hope.
So, what's in this playbook? Well, it really comes down to 4 key steps. First, you have to set really strict emission standards for cars and for industry. No more excuses. Second, you have to invest heavily in renewable energy to get away from fossil fuels. Third, you've got to rethink how cities are built, prioritize things like green space and public transit. And finally, and this one's crucial, you have to get citizens on board to build public support. It's a whole package deal, but it has absolutely been proven to work.
And this is where we start to connect the dots to an even bigger issue, because it turns out the fight for clean air is the exact same fight as the one against climate change. They are truly two sides of the very same coin.
It's such a simple but absolutely critical point. The same fossil fuel emissions that cause that toxic local smog are the exact same greenhouse gases that are driving global warming. So when we solve one of these problems, we are automatically helping to solve the other. It's one fight.
This creates what experts call a double dividend. It's a 2-for-1 deal. When a city invests in something like electric vehicles or expands its parks, it doesn't just clean the air for its citizens today, it also helps secure a more stable climate for everybody tomorrow.
So where does all of this leave us? I think the key takeaway is that air pollution is not some unsolvable mystery. The path forward is actually pretty clear. It's a choice.
And it's a choice that requires urgency, some clever innovation, and a lot of collaboration. And this is the thought I really want to leave you with. Clean air isn't a perk. It isn't a luxury. It's a fundamental, non-negotiable necessity for our health, for our survival, for our dignity. The solutions exist. We know what to do. So the question is no longer what can be done, but simply whether we have the collective will to do it.